You know what's been on my mind lately? Why some great ideas just never take off. Have you ever rolled out something new, maybe a process for your team or a course for your students, and watched it completely flop? Been there. Here is what I've discovered. Knowledge alone rarely creates change. And I want to share a framework that will help you design strategies people actually follow, boost your implementation rates, and finally bridge that gap between knowing and doing. It's called the Combi model, and it's transformed how I approach change in my business and even personal life. So, what's actually happening when people don't follow through? Is it laziness? Resistance? Turns out it's usually neither. According to research published in Implementation Science, behavior change requires three elements working together: capability, opportunity, and motivation. When any of these is missing, the behavior just doesn't happen, no matter how badly someone wants to change. Let's break this down in real, practical terms. First up is capability. Basically, can they actually do the thing you want them to do? A 2022 Coptera study found that 71% of employees feel overwhelmed by the amount of change at work. That's not resistance, that's a capability gap. I experienced this firsthand when I introduced a new project management system to my team. Everyone nodded during training, but weeks later, most were back to their old methods. When I dug deeper, I realized many team members were struggling with basic navigation. They simply couldn't remember the steps. Capability comes in two flavors: physical capability, the actual skills and abilities; psychological capability, the knowledge and mental processing. So if someone on your team isn't adopting a new process, the first question isn't why are they resisting, but are they genuinely able to do this easily? Quick tip from my experience. Create micro-training videos like 2-minute tutorials that people can reference when they get stuck. Works like magic because it addresses capability issues right when they are needed. The second piece is opportunity. And honestly, this is where I see most well-intentioned changes fall apart. According to Brinkerhoff's 40-20-40 model, 40% of the success of training depends on what happens after the training. Specifically, whether the environment supports applying the new skills. So it's often not about the training quality itself, it's about whether people are given the opportunity to use what they learned. Makes sense, right? Let me give you a real example. A friend who runs a small retail shop trained her team on a new customer follow-up process. Great training, everyone understood it, but it wasn't happening. Why? They were simply too busy during peak hours to implement it. There was no physical opportunity. Opportunity breaks down into physical opportunity, the time, resources, and environment; social opportunity, the cultural norms and social influences. Here is what worked for her. Creating a dedicated 30-minute follow-up window during quieter periods. Suddenly, the same team that wouldn't do follow-ups was doing them consistently. So, ask yourself, have I actually created the space for this behavior to happen? Or am I expecting people to somehow squeeze it into an already packed day? Now, let's talk about motivation. The part most people think is the whole story. According to behavior science research from University College London, Habit formation takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days, with an average of 66 days. That's a long time to stay motivated if you're only focusing on willpower. Motivation comes in two important types. Reflective motivation, the conscious planning and evaluating. For example, I should do this because. And automatic motivation, the desires, habits, and emotional responses. Like, I want to do this because. When I launched my online course last year, completion rates were initially pretty low, about 23%, which is actually around the industry average. But after the restructuring to include more community elements and progress celebrations, that jumped to 68%. What changed? Not the content, the emotional experience. People felt connected and saw their progress, triggering automatic motivation. Quick tip that's worked for me. Don't just explain why something matters. Create small wins that people can feel good about immediately. Motivation multiplies with momentum. Let me show you how this all comes together with a real business example. David, a small coffee shop owner I worked with, wanted his team to consistently gather customer testimonials about the drinks, something that would directly impact his marketing. Despite everyone agreeing it was important, after months of reminders, they had collected just a handful. So we applied the cone beam approach. For capability, we created a simple 3-question template and practiced it until everyone felt comfortable asking. For opportunity, we realized timing was everything. Asking during the morning rush? Not ideal. Customers were in a hurry and staff were slammed. So instead, we identified the sweet spot, mid-morning and mid-afternoon, when things slowed down and customers had a moment to enjoy their drink. That's when the baristas would casually ask for feedback or invite customers to leave a quick testimonial using a QR code placed near the pickup counter. For motivation, we created a testimonial wall in the office and celebrated each new addition. Plus, David started sharing how specific testimonials led to new business. The result? Within 6 weeks, they collected more testimonials than in the previous 6 months combined. This isn't unusual. Research published in BMC Public Health indicates that interventions addressing all 3 Combi elements, capability, opportunity, and motivation, can be more effective than those targeting just 1 or 2. So, here is what I want you to take away. When a behavior isn't happening, don't blame the person. Examine the system. The Combi model gives us a practical checklist. Have I truly built capability? Can they do it easily? Have I created genuine opportunity? Or have I made space for it? And have I sparked lasting motivation? Or do they want to do it? This approach has transformed how I design training programs, how I launch products, and even how I approach my own habits. I'd love to know which of these 3 elements do you think might be missing in a change you are trying to create right now. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button for more practical tips. And if you know another business owner or educator who is struggling with behavior change, share this video with them. Sometimes a new framework is all we need to break through. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, remember, behavior change isn't about trying harder. It's about designing smarter.